Welcome back to the channel. I'm Katrina Darcell. In today's video, I want to talk about a troubling pattern I've been noticing. Since Charlie Kirk's fatal shooting on September 10th, people across different sectors have faced disciplinary actions from their employers. These ranged from firings to administrative leave for social media comments about Kirk's political, social, and religious views. Let's start with Matthew Dowd. He was an analyst on MSNBC, and during coverage of the Charlie Kirk shooting, he commented on the climate of rhetoric in the country. Watch and listen to what he said.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
Shortly after making these remarks, MSNBC fired him, calling his comments inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. Over at Clemson University, some faculty members came under fire for things they posted on social media. Soon, hashtag defund Clemson was trending, and MAGA-affiliated groups, along with some Republican officials, began pushing campaigns to get them fired. In some cases, people were simply echoing things Charlie Kirk himself had said, which were sometimes inflammatory. Is firing people for this really the answer? Or should institutions and organizations push for better dialogue? Here's the statement Clemson released. Check it out. Clemson, like most universities, has a social media policy. For personal social media accounts, the university only steps in if posts violate bigger rules like harassment, discrimination, or confidentiality laws. And even then, the disciplinary ladder usually starts with warnings, written reprimands, and sometimes suspensions. Termination is typically reserved for the most serious or repeated cases. As far as I know, no faculty member was fired. Unfortunately, I just learned about more employees who were either fired or placed on administrative leave. Here's a quick breakdown. A FEMA data analyst was placed on leave after posting inflammatory remarks about Kirk. An assistant dean at Middle Tennessee State University was dismissed for saying on Facebook that Kirk spoke his fate into existence. An Office Depot employee in Michigan was fired for refusing to print posters for a Kirk vigil, which were against the company's policy to serve all customers fairly. A co-owner of a Cincinnati barbecue restaurant lost their job after posting about Kirk's death. An NFL team communications staffer was fired for offensive comments online. A Nextdoor employee in Milwaukee was let go for insensitive posts. Another assistant dean at a Tennessee college was terminated for sharing a meme about Kirk's death. Firing people for repeating some of Charlie Kirk's words or posting his videos shouldn't automatically lead to termination. As long as the content doesn't violate community guidelines like those on YouTube, losing a job over it seems extreme. Of course, some corporations have strict social media policies that allow for immediate termination, but I think that's too harsh. Like I said earlier, as long as they are not violating a platform's rules, it shouldn't lead to losing their employment. I think a progressive discipline is appropriate, but not taking away someone's livelihood. Now, I don't know whether the employees I mentioned had tenure, exceptional performance, or histories of following company codes. If so, a warning or written reprimand might have been more appropriate. Employers just need to make sure workers understand the consequences of policy violations, something usually covered in new hire training, though people usually forget. I've worked for companies that consistently reinforce this by having managers review the rules with their teams throughout the year. We all know that losing a job in today's economy can be crippling. So, what can organizations do instead? They can use incidents as teaching moments to promote responsible dialogue. They can also apply proportional consequences instead of rushing to termination. At the end of the day, leaders should avoid making rash decisions under pressure. Real free speech isn't about protecting only the voices we like. It's about making room for different perspectives, even uncomfortable ones. When organizations default to firing, they don't solve the problem. They put a Band-Aid on it. And sometimes that just deepens the divide. What we need are more honest, responsible conversations. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think firing people is ever the right solution? Or should we be focusing more on dialogue and understanding? Please comment below, and thank you for watching.